Forget what you know of prophecy. Forget Muad'Dib and the path written in sand. Imagine a universe where the Fremen never waited for a savior, never waited for destiny. Imagine a universe where the desert chose to rise first. This is Dune rewritten, and the galaxy will never be the same. In the story known by all, the Fremen were a people of patience and hidden strength. For generations beneath the shifting sands, they endured oppression, scarcity, and the unending thirst of the desert, sustained only by the hope of prophecy. They waited, generation upon generation, for an outsider, a messiah, to guide them to freedom. But in this alternate telling, the Fremen grew tired of waiting. They chose their own destiny. Without prophecy, without hesitation. They decided their chains would break through their own strength, not through a whispered name from the stars. It began subtly, silently, under the watchful gaze of Liet Kynes, imperial planetologist and the hidden voice of Arrakis itself. Kynes understood the desert more deeply than any outsider could imagine. He knew not just its harshness, but its hidden generosity, its quiet whispers of power. One night, beneath twin moons, Kynes gathered the Knives, leaders of every sitch across the great desert. Deep within a hidden cavern, lit only by glow globes and the fierce eyes of the gathered warriors, Kynes spoke words that changed the course of history. "We are the desert," he said softly, "and the desert bows to no one. Yet, we live like beggars on our own sands. While the Imperium grows rich on spice, our people starve. They take what is ours, believing we will always wait, but the sands have waited enough. Tonight, the desert claims back its freedom." His voice resonated, stirring something deep within the Fremen, something older than prophecy: pride, unity, strength. Within weeks, the first moves were made. Quiet, disciplined raids crippled spice production. The Harkonnen overseers vanished, and carefully coordinated strikes, Imperial patrols sent to investigate, never returned. Ships landing on the sands found no resistance, only silence, and soon after, oblivion. The Emperor initially dismissed reports of rebellion as exaggerated tales from frightened traders. But as the spice flow halted, he began to see Arrakis clearly, not as a distant colony, but as the fulcrum of his empire. Panic spread quickly, infecting the lance route and the great houses. Without spice, interstellar travel faltered. The mighty Spacing Guild itself knelt at the threshold of disaster, pleading desperately for relief. But the Fremen offered no mercy, no negotiation, only a stark message. The sands are ours. The spice is ours. Defy the desert, and we will take more than spice. We will take your stars. And the Imperium defied them. In response, the Fremen built something the universe had never imagined: an armada. They captured and repurposed the Guild's abandoned vessels, driven not by navigators but by spice-trained warriors who saw through the fabric of space itself. Chani, Liet Kynes' fierce and cunning daughter, became the fleet's commander, leading their forces into the dark beyond the sands. System by system, world by world, the Fremen arrived not as conquerors promising salvation, but as liberators reclaiming their birthright. They tore down corrupt dynasties. They brought down houses grown fat on imperial favor. Each planet they claimed, they left humbled and quiet, reshaped in the image of the desert, disciplined, united, and self-sustaining. Back on Arrakis, the Bene Gesserit watched in silent horror as millennia of genetic manipulation, centuries of careful planning, evaporated under the harsh glare of a desert-born revolution. Paul Atreides arrived eventually, still young, brilliant, and capable of great visions, but the world he found was not waiting for a savior. The Fremen had built their own empire, strong, purposeful, without gods or messiahs. Jessica saw the future she once imagined for her son crumble into dust. The Sisterhood's careful plans were destroyed, swept away by desert winds. Paul became simply another figure lost to history, a hero without a role, a prophet without a prophecy. As the Imperium collapsed, the old order fell away completely. House Corrino fractured, turning on itself. The Spacing Guild submitted fully, becoming servants of the Desert Empire. The Bene Tleilax retreated into shadowy silence, watching, waiting, planning survival. Only the desert grew stronger, richer, spreading outward until the stars themselves felt the dry whisper of the sands. Over decades, the Fremen Empire became the dominant force, not through religious fanaticism, but through ruthless pragmatism and unity forged by struggle. They rebuilt worlds in their own image, greened deserts on distant planets, taught billions how to survive, how to thrive, under conditions that would break weaker civilizations. Yet no matter how far they spread, how high they rose, the Fremen never forgot their home, Arrakis, where they had once been slaves, now masters. They ruled not by prophecy, not by divine right, but by the simple truth that no people would ever again enslave them. And in this rewritten timeline, that is their legacy, not jihad, not messiahs, but freedom, absolute and earned, stretching from the deserts of Arrakis to the farthest stars. This, then, is the true power of the desert, the willingness to rise, to fight, to reshape the galaxy itself without prophecy, without hesitation. Because on Arrakis, the future belongs to those who refuse to wait for destiny, those who choose instead to write it themselves.